Okay, so this would be a short example of how I'd use these, the microphones. So one of the things I'm going to do is, just for the sake of ease, since I can't automate in the thingy, I'm just going to make separate outputs here. And the reason I'm going to do this is I actually have I've got Reaper set up. So normally I have my BCAs for my strings, winds, percussion, and brass. This is my first 4 tracks in the session. So those are usually my VCAs, and then I have I have these automated and by a physical controller, so you can see. So I can actually figure out the levels I would use here, and then from there, I can just if I wanted to, I could make the mic combination in SINE afterwards. So let's just load up select violin 1 and cello is probably a good bet. Do sustains here, and then I'm gonna do like legato on in fact, you know what? Let me try to think here. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it like this. Okay. And I'm just gonna split these up. I think I'm just gonna I think I'll do up to here, so I'm gonna use that range. So that way I can play both of these on the same patch. Just a quick balance real quick. I'm gonna go to the mixer first. Yeah, it's good talk. Good talk. Turn off spots. 2. I'm gonna turn on leaders and outriggers as well. You can do this with AB and surround. I'm just like, if I was only gonna use 4 mics for now, this gives me like a more direct and I think a filmic sound. Now there's a few things I'm gonna do here. In this case, I gotta actually change the outputs of these physically into my DAW. So the first absolute step I would do is actually going in manually to each one of these. And I'm going to go to violin 1, and I'm going to play a note. I'm going to turn up the mod wheel, and I'm actually going to turn up the spot mic as loud as I can so that I can then pan it, because I use the close mics to create like a stereo pan. And I don't actually use the close mic and the leader mic at the same pan. So I don't want to route them to the same output because I feel like it adds a little bit more depth having that slight difference between them. So I'm going to just go ahead and crank this up. So that sounds pretty hard pan, but as soon as I go to the leader, I'm going to add that in as well. And I actually don't need to do that. What was I? Let me just switch to leader. Now I'm going to listen to these two together. Okay, so I can hear like roughly the stereo image between these two, like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the cello. So So in this case, I chose to pan the spots further than I did the leaders for the most part, on both the cello and the violins. So basically, I'm gonna find the mixture I want with those two first. I feel like that's subtle enough. Now that's just the leaders and the spot. In that case, I just balanced the cello a little bit, you know, just for this test case. Now, the other thing is with these, now that I got those muted real quick, I use the tree and the outrigger to kind of create the right amount of width. So I'm just going to ease these in and I'm going to blend them. Now, the other thing I did there is I'm listening for the frequency buildups that I like. So even though like you might think it's like a depth and width thing, another big chunk of using the microphones correctly is I want to get a good approximation with the actual frequency balance. So I don't need to EQ it as much. I can just bring out the mics that have the nice sound. So this sounds great. I think most people would be happy with that string sound even without the close mics in, right? Like no EQ, no reverb. It sounds great. So now I'm gonna bring the close and leader mics back in. Now I liked, if you notice over here, I liked having the leader a little bit more. So I'm gonna try to keep the same mentality here. So I'm just gonna roll a chord real quick. Now this is a pretty far mix, so if I was going to do this, you can kind of see here, I'm at minus 11 decibels, minus 7, minus 13, minus 8. So if I actually went in here and did that, I think I'm going to do that just for the sake of violins. So let me actually just mix those real quick. Hold on a sec. Let me mix them slightly separately here. So I think, let me just focus on the cello first. Okay, I think I like that for cello. So, what we got here? So this is going to be 12, 2, 2.5 really. 13, I think. 1 second. What the shit? What was that? I ended up adding a little bit more body from the tree back in. But again, I'm listening to those frequencies, and I could add more body, as you heard, if I put the tree up. But that runs risks of being way too low MIDI. All right, so what we got here? 12, 2, 6. I'll just go ahead and put these in. So this one's going to be minus 12. That's about 2.6. And then this one, I believe, was minus 10. 10.8, so really it's minus 11. And then this one was like minus 8. Oh, let me try that again. This one's like minus 8, and this one's minus like 10.11. Alright, so let me just go ahead and output this as a fifth output real quick. Even though I deleted it. Alright, in theory, this should be a finished output. I think that sounds pretty good for the cello. And I'm going to do the same thing real quick with the strings. So this was my final, a good amount of presence with the cello. I'll do the same thing real quick with the violins. This gave me a bit of a scooped tone, but this is what it came up with. I feel like this has the right amount of depth and sweetness to it. And again, you hear the way I use these mics is I'll push it up, push it down, and I'm listening for the frequencies that it's adding, and I'm figuring out how much of that frequency do I want. If I add more of that, is it going to be blocky? If I pull it back, is it going to sound tinny? And that's a good way to start. Because the goal is, again, you want to get these best sounding as you can. So if you were making a mic mix, this is how I'd do them, and then I'd just rebalance based on that. So, because I'd rather rebalance the volume of the instrument and then have the exact perfect tone the whole time, than try to play. Well, realistically, you wouldn't have control of these separately, because it's VI, and I'm going to use the actual benefit of it being virtual. So what we got here? So minus 32 is a big whoops. Minus 32, and then negative 16. So let's do that. 32. $16. And of course these aren't perfect, but I'm just going in here. 21.9, so it's 22. And 7. Yeah, somewhere around there. And if I send all these to the output, 9 again? 9, 10. Should be good. In this case, I'm going to want to rebalance the articulation, but... I think that's how I do it. So this was my final, just as an example with violins doing more of a supporting like chord type role, and that was just me to approximate like it's basically the balance of like violin 1 and violin 2. What I would do there as far as being able to play chords. Now, if I wanted this to be a lead line versus the other way around, so if I just pop this off, you'll hear I'm gonna add legato onto this. And if I just change the volume of both of these articulations, let me just I'm gonna add some envelope onto this just to make it seem more like an actual sustain, like a soft sustain. I didn't give myself enough room to play a whole lot of stuff melodically on the violin there. Honestly, though, I probably would never do that orchestration and just what I had available. Whatever. Anyways, I hope that helps.